So out of CNN today, the Democrats are going to authorize a subpoena for the full Mueller report. It says the House Judiciary Chairman, Jerry Nadler, is that how you pronounce that, or Nadler, will authorize a subpoena this week to obtain the full, unredacted report from Special Counsel Robert Mueller. So, effectively, looking through this stuff, the problem is it's not going to just be so cut and dry as the Republicans claiming that the document exonerates the president and then doing the most basic, simple, logical thing that you would do, which would be to release the documents which confirm the statements that you were making about the contents of that very document. Instead, we're going to play the game where the Republicans stand in the way of obvious progress. So, what do you think about this one, Mike?
You would think if it was so exonerating and such a huge, throw it in our face moment that they could just point at it and go, look here, read the thing, we were right all along. They'd be loading it into t-shirt cannons and driving down the streets and shooting it through people's windows. But no, instead it's like, yeah, you'll have to take our word for it. He's exonerated, just you can't read it. Which is super bizarre and very, I think it's really suspicious, because if it is everything you want it to be, you shouldn't have any problem with me reading it. You should in fact be like smacking me in the face with the document saying, here, read it, it proves me right. And they're just not. And yet I'm supposed to just take your word for it. So all in all, I think it is, as you said, just another example of them just clearly standing in the way of common sense. Is that how you put it?
I don't remember what I said.
But yeah, it's just a really bizarre move. And the subpoena, I do wonder if that's going to be any more effective than just the Congress demanding it. Because maybe it shows a hole in my understanding of the legal system, but I assume the subpoena is just a court order saying this has to be turned over, which is my understanding of what it is. And if they're not turning it over now, I don't know why they wouldn't seek to block the subpoena, or would just ignore it, or get an injunction, or some other means where it's not going to just be the magic wand and suddenly the report appears.
Well, the whole thing is fantasy land from the beginning. I mean, the idea that a person can be investigated and then fire the people who are investigating them and then handpick the replacements for those people and have one of the people that you picked, Barr, state that he doesn't think that the investigation should be happening. Like, state his own bias that is opposed to the very idea of the project which he was appointed to oversee. A year later, he just writes this summary and says, everything's good, take our word for it. And half the country bought it right away with no question. The memes were fucking, they had them loaded, because it takes conservatives a long time to come up with a meme. So that's why they stick like this on issues, because it takes them so long to come up with these quippy one-liners. But they had them ready, because we've been dealing with this for 2 years. So, I mean, they've been sitting in their little fucking troll basements putting together these things, and they fucking came out in force. And these are the same people who elected Trump, saying that, like, oh, he's going to drain the swamp. Like, he's not your average politician. He's not going to do the same old stuff. He's different in some way. Nope. He's just like all the bad stuff, just way worse, more corporatist. Like I've said in other videos, like, pretty much the only nice thing is that he doesn't spout dogmatic religious rhetoric frequently.
And I couldn't articulate it this way at the time, but in 2016, I was saying things like, if you think one of the corporate elite is saying, I care about the small man, and it's not a means of propaganda to get you to vote for him so that he can help the other corporate elites, you're a fucking idiot. And that's exactly what it was, is this big facade show of, I care about the little man, and nope, he's just a corporate shill. And he still is, and everything he does proves it. Everything he does supports that, just consistently over and over. He's just a corporate elitist, and that's all he cares about.
Yeah, I mean, there. He's more than that. I think he's clearly. I don't want to overstate it, but he has fascist leanings that are extremely troubling. Um, Most recently, there was the statements that he made about the investigation, where he said that it's a shame that your president had to had to go through all of this, and the way that he said it was very reminiscent of the way that you would expect like a grandfather or somebody to say, like, it's a shame that you, oh, I can't believe you put you know, that you would put your grandfather through this sort of patriarchal, familial, great leader-esque posturing that he was making, that like, it also includes this fragmentary statement that's unspoken, where he's saying, like, do you see, I let you investigate me. I let you do this. And you should be ashamed of yourselves that you did it. You should be ashamed of yourselves that you would put someone like me, who is so gracious as to have allowed you to investigate me. I find that to be troubling. All of his rhetoric about the wall, and his overt racism. Is he a racist at heart? Don't care. Effectively, he's a racist. And this report, it needs to be released.
Yeah, I mean,
And
everything that you're saying is completely consistent with what all of the things he does are consistent with this figure who is a fascist, a corporatist. He's racist. Even if in his heart, as you pointed out, he doesn't actually believe these things, everything he's doing follows this same schema. And just, this is just another step, just
it,
another step. I'm so benevolent. I let you do this thing. You don't need to read it. You can trust daddy.
yeah, because and almost daily he makes these statements. These, you know, I'm such a nice guy. I've been doing all these nice things, and the people who support me are so nice. For now. I would never do the things that you are implying that I would do. Unless you make me angrier. All of these things are dangerous. All of these things they contribute to a cycle of ignorance and dumb fuckery, short quippery, rhetorical diarrhea that permeates the internet and creates, and indeed radicalizes, people whose brains are small, people who are easily taken in by dumb fuckery, by short quippery. And on a daily basis, the president does things and says things that increase the amount of suffering in the world, that increase the amount of hate. And the idea that we on the left are going to back down from the idea that there should be transparency, because we maybe we were wrong about the specific accusation that he was in cahoots with the Russian government. Perhaps we were wrong on that specific accusation. That does not mean the report should not be released. That does not mean that he didn't commit some other crime. That does not mean that the report won't reveal all manner of other problematic choices or crimes that were committed by other individuals, or ideological choices that that were made that, upon reflection, are more problematic than the ostensibly non-biased bar in his assessment of that report.
Yep, and people keep saying, on the right that I see, they keep saying, "Oh, totally exonerated. He started that. Trump started this. I've been completely exonerated." No, you haven't. And let's not forget, people were indicted. People are in jail. Like, there was criminal activity occurring. It just, none of it linked to him. So this was not a total exoneration. People went to jail. That's not exoneration. That's, at best, like, that's, you weren't guilty, but there were guilty people. And it's just foolish. And he's already, with all of his crazy quippery, as you put it, he set the stage that no matter how this thing turned out, and even if the thing gets released, anything they don't like about it, he's just going to say it's fake news. He's going to, bluster and turn red and get angry and say, "How dare you hurt your father? This is fake." And the right's just going to eat it up and parrot it. And he's at that stage. I mean, that's, I guess you could argue that's probably been kind of the thrust of his entire presidency is to push this message constantly, so as to cast anything in doubt that he doesn't like, and his base will just eat it. They'll just take it up and they'll go, "Nom nom nom, I love this," and then they repeat it.
Yeah, like little machines. Yeah, I can't think of a way that this ends without that report being released. And I don't want to misquote here, but didn't the House say they wanted to see it in like a unanimous vote with like four
so.
people, some very small number of people voted present. And then it's this classic issue where it goes into the Senate, and then some old white fuck stands up and starts some bullshit.
Yeah, and he's been doing this job for decades because idiot boomer voters just keep picking the same guy or ticking the Republican box every year. And so this guy, he's good at the game. He's been in the Senate for, most of his entire adult career. And he's just going to sit up there and bluster and block and stop and do whatever it takes. And it doesn't really matter what he says or why he's saying it, because functionally it gives that person the power and functionally stops the left agenda, no matter what that may be, no matter the purpose, no matter what we're asking. They don't care. It's a game. It's a politics game. They don't care about the truth. They care about their political capital.
Yep. And it's Mitch McConnell, right? He's the one who stood up in the Senate and blocked the vote.
I believe so. Yeah.
Well, fuck him. Mitch McConnell, fuck yourself.